Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Overwatch Weekly. Another very light news week. There's almost nothing going on, which is still very weird. I really would assume something is going on behind the scenes that we haven't seen yet because this is a drought unlike any I've seen in a while. There was a couple times last year where this happened, like around BlizzCon, we got a bit of a drought, but that's because we knew something big was coming at BlizzCon. So, to me, it seems like we should be, in theory, getting something soon that's big. But who knows what it is. But the Twitter account hasn't tweeted anything in a week. And there hasn't been a blog post by any of the devs in 2 weeks. So, it's a bit strange, but I guess we will have to figure out what's going on. And we'll just have to wait and see when this big announcement does drop. But we do have some things that we can take a look at here. So the first thing is the Stage 3 playoffs for the Overwatch League. They kick off tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. The first match pits the Houston Outlaws, the number 7 seed, against the number 2 seed, the Vancouver Titans. And at 11 p.m. or 8 p.m. or 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, the 8-seeded Shanghai Dragons will take on the number 1-seeded New York Excelsior. Moving on to Friday, July 12th, we have the 5-seeded San Francisco Shock taking on the 5-seeded Seoul Dynasty taking on the 4-seeded San Francisco Shock. That is at 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Pacific. That is followed at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, or when the first game ends, by the LA Valiant, the number 7 seed taking on the number 6 seed taking on the number 3 seeded Hangzhou Spark. Saturday, we'll have the semifinal matches. They will begin at 10 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. Pacific. And then when that one ends, you'll have the second semifinal match. Their prediction is that it will end at approximately 1 a.m. or the next one will start approximately 1 a.m. Eastern, or that would be 11 p.m. Pacific, or 10 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Pacific. Finally, on Sunday, July 14th, the Stage 3 finals will air on Twitch, ESPN2, and the ESPN app. So that is the Stage 3 playoffs. If you want to look at the full schedule in your time zone, you can go to the link in the description down below. It'll bring you to the schedule, and you can see the full time zone there. And the full list of when everything will take place. Obviously, could be the 12th when the first games start. Time zones obviously change. So, that is what you need to know about that. Let's move on to the next story, which is also from the Overwatch League. They're all from the Overwatch League. The Overwatch League put out a new article, and it is called Meet Pete, the new commish. Now, I talked a bit about the departure of Nate Nanzer, and I don't know if I talked about Pete Vlastelica being the new commissioner in an Overwatch Weekly. I know I talked about it in another video, but Pete Vlastelica is the new commissioner. And this gives you a kind of an idea of what he wants to do. I'm not going to go through every single question and his full answer, but the first question is, what was your path to Activision Blizzard and the Overwatch League? And the answer is, he had been the executive VP of digital at Fox Sports. Part of his job at Fox was to look out on the horizon to identify the competition and opportunities that the company should be focusing on. And esports was one of the biggest things that he had spent time on. He was hooked. And when he was recruited into Activision Blizzard about 3 years ago, he found it to be an easy decision to help build the really exciting business. Then they asked him, you're the president and CEO of Activision Blizzard Esports Leagues. Why did you decide to take on the commissioner role as well? And he said, I have been closely involved with the Overwatch League since early in the design phase in 2016. And since then, I've been running the businesses that operates the league. And he has developed close relationships with the owners and the product he has gotten very familiar with. and he wanted to make sure that it was someone in the commissioner role that understands the league, and he felt that that was him. When asked, what are your top priorities as commissioner? He gave the answer, happy fans, happy owners, happy partners, happy employees, which is important. I think that's a very important answer and a very good answer, and hopefully he does just that. When asked, how can the Overwatch League expand its audience at a time when there are so many great entertainment options for consumers, he said by doing what we've been doing. People who love the product are telling their friends about it, and I expect that to continue. And then also, going into home markets next year is going to unlock a lot of new fans who will be rooting not just for a team, but for their city. When asked what sets the Overwatch League apart from other esports and from traditional sports, he said, like a lot of traditional sports, we have an easy-to-understand structure and format, and I think that we've taken the best elements from esports and traditional sports and created something entirely new that is designed to last for a very long time. And he said, like a lot of esports, our league is young, global, and digital native. When asked what's the biggest thing you're looking forward to in the remainder of the 2019 season, he said the grand finals. And he said that the last grand finals in the Barclays Center was one of the best live events he's ever been to, but he thinks it's going to be better in Philly. When asked, how do you see the league evolving in 2020 and beyond, particularly with home and away matches, he said it's going to be easier to unlock so many fans and a lot of our value for the owners. He's excited to see what the owners do, how they approach it in and around the venue, the fan experience. He's very excited to see what happens mainly around that. This is a very good question and a very, very, very important question. What's your vision for the larger competitive Overwatch ecosystem, including contenders and the Overwatch World Cup? And his answer, the path to pro is so important for the long-term success of our league. We operate multiple tiers of competitive play below the Overwatch League, and that will continue. Contenders is the primary source for future generations of star Overwatch League players, and the World Cup as a chance for unknown players to make a name for themselves while giving fans in countries that don't have an Overwatch League team a chance to root for a local team. I'm really proud of the work we've done to establish competitive Overwatch at every level. So I'm glad that he's, one, very knowledgeable, clearly, about the scene in the below, Overwatch League, tier 2, tier 3 scene. I guess there really isn't a tier 3 scene. There's a tier 2 scene, but the World Cup is very clearly like a tier 3 in a lot of ways. Like, you have players who are just really good on the ladder that play for the World Cup because, hey, that's what you can do. I think it's a really good thing that they want to have so much of a focus on contenders and the World Cup, because it is important. You look at players that are in the Overwatch League now, like Mangachu or Nene. These are players who were killing it in contenders last year and have made their way up into the league. And now, they get to be on that pro stage, on the biggest stage of the game that they are playing. The final question that Pete was asked was, what do you enjoy most about Overwatch and what makes the franchise stand out to you? And he said, I love the diversity of the heroes and the bright, positive, inclusive, optimistic vision of future Earth that the game portrays. He loves that it's fun for all skill levels, and its competitive depth rewards players for investing the time it takes to be really good. It's a beautiful game, and I'm proud and excited to be working with the game as the engine around which we built the Overwatch League. So that's, in general, what he said in all of the answers. If you want to read the article, it is in the description down below, as always. But let's move on to the final thing I have to talk about today, which is something that I'm pretty sure was announced 2 weeks ago, but I just didn't talk about it. But it is the new Hometown collection of Overwatch League merchandise. If you want to check it out, link is in the description. I think they're interesting. Some of them are nice, some of them not as nice. I don't really like the New York Excelsior one that much, which is unfortunate. I wish I liked it a little bit more, but it's not too bad. But there's some cool stuff if you want to check them out. That is in the description down below. But that's everything I have for you. Very slow week. Not a ton of news coming out, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what we get in the next week or two. And if it's still this dead, maybe we should start to worry a little bit, because it is not fun trying to talk about nothing. But if you enjoyed, consider liking and subscribing, as it does help out a lot with the channel. But I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!